In an industry where the spotlight often fades faster than anyone expects, especially for stars of a past era, the story of Marla Gibbs takes a very different turn. At 95, when many of her peers have stepped away or quietly disappeared from public memory, she is still here. But not in the way people might expect. No scandals, no flashy reinventions, no dramatic comebacks to reclaim attention. Just a quiet life in Los Angeles, steady, enduring, and almost at odds with the relentless pace of the entertainment world she once navigated for decades. And that quietness is exactly what makes this story worth questioning. How does someone who spent years working under pressure, constantly performing, constantly pushing, remain sharp, present, and at peace at 95? Is it about health, about lifestyle, or is it something far less obvious? A decision very few people are willing to make, stepping away from the very system that once defined them. Because if you look closely, Marla Gibbs' quiet life today may not be as simple as it seems. What looks like silence is, in fact, structure. Today, Marla Gibbs lives a private life in the Inglewood area of Los Angeles, far removed from the visibility that once defined her career. There are no public home tours, no carefully staged glimpses into her personal space, and no attempt to turn her lifestyle into a form of entertainment. Instead, her focus has shifted toward family, reflection, and a small number of carefully chosen projects. And yet, she hasn't disappeared. She is still working, but not in the way she once did. Her schedule is no longer packed, her appearances no longer constant. Instead of chasing roles, she selects them. Instead of maintaining visibility, she controls it. In recent years, she has taken on roles that align with her pace and energy. She portrayed Olivia Price, the mother of Jackie Harry's character, in Days of Our Lives, beginning as a recurring role in 2021 before transitioning into more selective guest appearances over time. More recently, she has also appeared in Will Trent between 2025 and 2026, brief, intentional appearances that reflect presence without pressure. At the same time, her attention has turned inward. Her upcoming memoir, It's Never Too Late, set for release on February 24, 2026, signals a shift from performing for audiences to reflecting on a lifetime of experience. There is a pattern in all of this: less volume, more intention. This is not retirement. It is a recalibrated way of living, one that prioritizes sustainability over visibility and energy over expectation. Because in Marla Gibbs' world today, longevity isn't about staying active at all costs. It's about knowing exactly how much to hold on to and when to let the rest go. But to understand how she arrived at this kind of balance, you have to go back to a time when her life looked nothing like this. Long before the quiet rhythm of today, Marla Gibbs was living a life defined by pressure, uncertainty, and constant work, often all at the same time. She didn't begin as a star. In fact, when she first moved to Los Angeles in 1963, she was working as a reservations agent for United Airlines, a job she would hold for over a decade. And even when her acting career finally began to take shape, she didn't let that job go.
I was reservations. So you call me if you want to book a flight.
And when asked why she kept that job even after landing the Jeffersons,
because a bird in the hand is worth 20 in the bush. And you don't give up the bird in the hand just because there's a bush. You gotta make sure. I don't know about Hollywood and TV. I don't know how long. I've been to United the 11th season.
So while most people imagine a breakthrough as a clean transition, hers was anything but. By the time she was cast as Florence Johnston in The Jeffersons in 1975, she was already in her mid-40s, an age when many actors are struggling to stay relevant, not just getting started. There was no carefree early career, no period to experiment or slow down. Everything had to work, and it had to work quickly. And when success finally came, it didn't make life easier. It made it heavier. The Jeffersons demanded a rigorous schedule, 5 days a week on set, sustaining the sharp, quick-witted energy of the sassy maid character for 11 consecutive seasons from 1975 to 1985. At one point, she was balancing daytime filming with nighttime shifts at United Airlines, essentially living two full-time lives at once. But that still wasn't the peak of the pressure. In 1981, she took on an entirely new challenge, purchasing and running her own jazz club, Marla's Memory Lane Jazz and Supper Club. This wasn't a passive investment. She managed it herself, performed there, and hosted live shows, including events like A Salute to the Legends in 1987 alongside her 227 colleagues. In other words, she wasn't just acting in a hit series, she was simultaneously running a business, performing live, and maintaining her presence in television. This was the most demanding phase of her life, not because she was struggling, but because she was succeeding on multiple fronts at once. And that changes the way we understand her longevity. Because Marla Gibbs didn't arrive at 95 by living a calm, protected life. She arrived here after enduring one of the most physically and mentally demanding career paths imaginable. Which raises a deeper question. If that level of pressure didn't break her, then what exactly allowed her to come out of it without being worn down the way so many others were? Part of the answer lies in what Marla Gibbs did once she reached the top. Because for her, success was never just about staying visible. It was about gaining control. Her breakthrough role as Florence Johnston in The Jeffersons wasn't just popular, it became iconic. A character who didn't just serve the story, she often stole it. Over time, that role helped redefine how Black women were portrayed on television. Not passive, not secondary, but bold, vocal, and fully present. And the industry noticed. Marla Gibbs received 5 Primetime Emmy nominations for Outstanding Supporting Actress, recognition that placed her firmly among the most respected performers of her time. But what she did next is where the story shifts. Instead of staying in that lane, repeating a successful formula, she expanded her role behind the scenes. With 227, she didn't just star as Mary Jenkins, a grounded, witty, and strong matriarch. She helped shape the show itself. The series, which ran from 1985 to 1990 for 5 seasons and 115 episodes, was rooted in a stage play she had produced with her daughter Angela, meaning this wasn't just a role she accepted, but a project she helped bring into existence. Behind the camera, her involvement went even further. She co-produced the show, contributed creatively in editing and writing, performed the theme song, and played an active role in casting, famously advocating for a young Regina King to be cast as her daughter. According to reports from People magazine and The Hollywood Reporter, she held full producer-level influence, even when it wasn't always formally credited at the time.
I went to editing. I wrote. I did things. It gave me a whole new aspect of the business.
I'm not sure, but you probably were the first Black woman in that position during that time.
That statement says more than it seems. Because at a time when very few Black women had creative control in television, Marla Gibbs wasn't just participating in the system. She was quietly reshaping her place within it. And that changes how we understand her longevity. She moved from being someone who followed the structure to someone who could adjust it. And yet, what makes her story truly unusual is what came next. Because once she had that level of control, she didn't use it to push further, louder, or bigger, like most people would. Instead, she chose something else entirely. After 227 ended in 1990, Marla Gibbs stood at a point where many actors typically accelerate, leveraging fame into more leading roles, bigger deals, and long-running franchises. She had the recognition, the credibility, and now the creative authority to do exactly that. But she didn't. There was no aggressive expansion of a personal brand, no attempt to dominate the screen again in the same way. Instead, her career took on a very different rhythm. From the 2000s onward, Her appearances became more selective, guest roles, supporting characters, and independent projects, rather than leading a weekly sitcom. She appeared in series like The Hewleys, ER, Scandal, This Is Us, Grey's Anatomy, and later Chicago Med, 2026, as well as films like Medea's Witness Protection. The pattern is clear: presence without overload. Because when someone reaches a point where they can choose how much they work, the real question is not how far can they go, but how far do they want to go? And Marla Gibbs answered that question differently from most. She simply stopped competing. And that distinction matters, because what looks like doing less is often the result of understanding more. For Marla Gibbs, that realization didn't come from theory. It came from a life-threatening moment. In 2006, she survived both a brain aneurysm and a stroke. And from that point forward, something shifted. Not just in her career, but in the way she moved through life. She didn't try to bounce back by pushing harder. She slowed down and accepted that slowing down was part of healing. Instead of leading continuous series or managing multiple high-pressure projects, she began choosing selective guest roles, appearing in shows like Grey's Anatomy, The Upshaws, Will Trent, and Chicago Med. Work didn't stop. It simply changed shape, becoming something that fit her energy rather than something that consumed it. What's striking is how she approached recovery. No strict diet systems, no expensive supplements or biohacking trends. Instead, her recovery was grounded in something much less glamorous, but far more real: physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. Step by step, she rebuilt what had been affected. And just as importantly, she learned to accept support from others, something she had initially resisted. That shift alone says a lot. And yet, the result is undeniable. Even at 94 to 95, she remains mentally sharp, present, and engaged. In interviews, she speaks clearly, often with humor. She continues to promote her memoir, attend public events like the Emmys and book launches, and even perform, maintaining not just memory, but personality and presence. And over time, that difference becomes everything. But even a body that is no longer under constant pressure cannot stay stable on its own. Because physical recovery is only one part of the equation. What sustains it, the part we don't often see, is the life built around it. For Marla Gibbs, that life has never been empty. It has been anchored in connection. As a single mother of three, Angela, Jordan, and Dorian, family has always remained at the center of her world. And that connection didn't fade with time. Even today, she is often seen attending events alongside her daughter Angela, surrounded by children and grandchildren, a visible continuity that many people lose as they grow older. But her sense of family extends beyond blood. Throughout her life, she has maintained deep, lasting friendships, relationships that function more like chosen family than industry connections. Her close bond with actress Roxy Roker is one example, reflecting a pattern of long-term emotional grounding that goes far beyond professional circles. And importantly, she never withdrew from the world. But staying connected doesn't mean staying at the top. Not because she couldn't continue, but because she chose not to. She didn't chase relevance through reinvention. There was no visible attempt to stay young through cosmetic changes. Instead, she stepped into a quieter role, one that many people avoid. She allowed herself to become part of her own history. Rather than performing constantly, she focused on telling her story. Through her memoir, It's Never Too Late, released February 24th, 2026. A project that doesn't just celebrate success, but also acknowledges the difficult, humbling moments that shaped her. And one of those moments came after her health crisis in 2006. She admitted, "Maybe it is over. Maybe my days as an actress are gone." That thought could have ended everything. But instead, it marked the moment she began to redefine what continuing actually meant. And the recognition she receives today reflects that transition. Awards like ABFF, Honors and Essence's Black Women in Hollywood Lifetime Achievement Awards don't celebrate what she is doing now. They honor what she has already built. And that is the cost. Because to live this long, and to live well, you have to let go of being the most visible version of yourself. And maybe that's the real takeaway here. If this story made you think differently about success, aging, or even your own pace in life, let us know in the comments. What do you think about Marla Gibbs' journey? And as always, thank you for being here, for listening, and for growing with us.